From your left to right, moving across, we have sophomore linebacker Nate Dreilling, junior defensive end Gus Toca, head coach Tim Beck, senior quarterback Zac Dickey, and sophomore wide receiver John Brown. We're going to ask Coach Beck to make an opening statement about the game, and then we'll take questions from the group. Coach Beck.
Yes. Well, first of all, I'd like to say, Delta State had a very good football team. And, you got to give them a lot of credit. They came in here and played extremely hard, a very tough physical football game on both sides. And, give them a lot of credit. They had a great team. I was obviously very proud of our football team. Once again, like we said last week, we have a very determined team, and they love to play the game. And when we don't have to do a whole lot other than give them some direction as coaches and make sure that we're sound in what we do. And our leadership with our seniors and our captains and our leadership council group has been phenomenal. And we are extremely excited and honored to go to Florence. And it's been too long, and we're very excited about going back.
It's for either each of you guys. The last 3 games, you guys have been able to score in bunches, turn close games into blowouts. What is it about your offense that allows you to be able to do that? How much pride do you kind of take in just taking hope away from teams and burying that a little bit?
Well, I know that there's some times today and early last week, in the first half last week, that we wish we would have played better. And when I say played better, I think it's a direct correlation to turning the ball over. Like that was just too many mistakes that way. I mean, we turned the ball over too many times the second half, and we didn't turn over any last week in a downpour, and then this time we have four turnovers, I think, or 5 turnovers, and 4 of those were directly correlated with me, and so I don't, of course it's amazing that we were able to do that, and our defense played lights out as usual, and allowed us to turn the ball over and then get another chance at it. That doesn't always happen, so we have to fix that this week, and then so we can't have that happen next week.
Gus or Nate, either one of you guys, tell me about those I don't remember how many were. I've looked at all those 4th down stops. Tell me about that mentality and just how big a boost that was for the defense.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, it was big. 3rd down stops what it comes down to usually when we play teams, and we're able to get a bunch of those. But then 4th down, they fell behind kind of early, so they tried to go for a bunch of them. And it's pretty much just a bend but don't break defense for us today. Did a great job either filling the run. Our quarterbacks did a great job of just playing one-on-one and breaking on the ball. All around, it's a great feeling, and we'll be ready to go next week, and it'll be a fun time.
Our D-line we just got low and just drove our feet, tried to make a pile, and then linebackers were there to clean it up, and it's a challenge, it's a big challenge, and we love those.
You guys, another test, another good quarterback, another good offensive line, and you guys passed again. I mean, we were in his face all night. How do you guys keep doing this?
We have some good coaching. We work on our pass rush a lot, our takeoffs, and we love the challenge of having a huge offensive line like they did, such a good O-line, and try to get past them. And it makes us feel good.
John, I just have for you. Can you tell me, take that punt return? That was big for the team. Got off on a good foot this week. What did you see on that punt return, and what happened there?
It just as soon as I caught it, it's just like an open lane, wide open space. So I hit the hole, and when I look left, only person I see is Nate. So I just follow his lead and just went in the end zone.
John, you kind of look for any opportunity to get a big play to break the game open a little bit. You're versatile. You can do a lot of things. You just look for any opportunity you can.
Yes. It's just I like to get off to a good start. I like to try to put teams away early. So the better I can get the ball in my hands earlier, the better it will be.
Zac, what are you feeling right now? How satisfying is this for you guys to get the points out there?
Well, I kind of answered this question before, but first playoff win against Washburn, that was the biggest game of my life up to that point, and then then against Northwest, biggest game of my life up to that point, and then today was the biggest game of my life up to that point. So they just keep growing, keep growing, and next week, right now, yes, it's very satisfying to get into the national title, but like Coach Beck stressed with us throughout the playoffs is like he said, he'll be proud of us to compete, and he'll be proud of us of where we are, of course, right now. You can't argue with that, can't complain about that, but that's not what this team is about, and so we got to come out and win another ball game. That's all our focus is going to be on.
Coach, with an offense like you faced today, how important was it to shut down the run like you did and turn them to a one-dimensional offense?
Well, that's kind of the goal. When you have somebody that's fairly balanced, you've got to pick something and try to stop it first. And that's kind of our main philosophy most of the time is we're going to try to stop the run and stop the run first and try to make them one-dimensional. And our defensive line, and our linebackers and our support we get from our safeties, it's pretty hard to run the football against us.
The defensive guys, how satisfied does it make you when you can force a turnover and the offense comes back and scores really quickly after this?
Yeah, anytime you can force a turnover, you're pumped up, and obviously I think the offense feeds off that pretty well, and once they put it in, it just feels just a good accomplishment knowing that you were part of that drive pretty much for that offense, and it just gets the whole team fired up. Huge momentum swing. If you get a turnover then followed by a touchdown, it's hard to come back from if you're the opposing team.
That's how we complement each other. We get a turnover and then the offense is fired up and they drive it down the field and score a touchdown. That just makes us want to even, get more turnovers to get them going, and that's how we feed off each other.
The defensive guys too, Michael Admire, KOAM. Are you guys going to try to rig the ballot boxes to have Harlan Hill award player for Wayne State? Because it seems like you guys have just been dominating those guys.
No, I'm sure they got good athletes. My vote's the guy at the end of the table down there, but they didn't ask me to vote this year. But, no, I'm sure they got good athletes. We did a fairly good job of containing the quarterback today, but that goes back to shutting down the run game for the most part and making them one-dimensional. That helps their D-line. They can really tee off at them and get their speed rush going, and secondary also did a great job today.
Yes, I think all the Harlan Hill guys are tired of seeing your number come up the middle. What's that been like going against two premier quarterbacks like that and getting in the face like you have been?
I think it's really fun. I think all of our defensive guys think it's real fun. It's a big challenge, and when you rise up and able to stop them a couple of times, it just makes you feel good about it and makes you want more. So it's just like momentum. After we get one stop, we just can't stop. We got to keep going.
Coach Greg Grisolano with TeamCon. Delta State's head coach said probably the greatest strengths of this team is its line play, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. How do you feel about that assessment?
Right before we walked out on the field this evening, I told our guys we talked about the keys for offense and defense and special teams throughout the week, and then right before we walked on the field, I said those are all awfully important, but what's going to win us the game tonight is our offensive and defensive line. And we were able to play pretty well on both sides. Defensive line played extremely well, I think, and offensive line did a good job of taking care of some business. We had several drives that were stopped by fumbles, and that was a little frustrating. We were getting a little frustrated by that offensively, but I felt like both sides played pretty good.
Wayne Gilmore, TeamCon. Guys, talk about consistently from the very first game on, Coach Beck has talked and been very consistent in saying, the one game at a time, and the message you guys put out as players, follows that lead. Talk about the mentality of how important that's been during this whole thing to make this kind of come to where it is today.
Yeah, obviously, if you overlook someone, you can very easily get beat or upset. So, Coach pretty much drilled into our minds that we got to take one game at a time and do everything we can this game, and don't even worry about the next. Pain will go away after a while, eventually through the week, and just give everything you got. And it's worked well so far, but we know we got one more, and we're not satisfied where we're at right now. We're maybe a little happy, but that's it. We need to get this last one. It'll be good.
Coach, how do you keep things as normal as possible after something like this, where, these players have never been to a national championship game? What are you going to do to try to get their minds right?
I think there's some experiences we can use from the last times to help them with that. But, I think that the big thing is not to get too high and not to get too low. And you know, our coaches, I think, for the most part, are that way. We get a little too excited sometimes and not excited enough every once in a while. But for the most part, we're pretty even-keeled. And, you know, our players trust us on what we're saying and what we're doing and the game plans that we put together. They trust what we're doing. So, again, it's just a total commitment by everybody and everybody buying into what we're trying to get accomplished.
Delta coach said that he thought the biggest thing starting the game off was the crowd. Comment on what you thought the crowd was like tonight and how much that helped you guys.
That was the loudest crowd we've ever had here.
Yeah.
Third downs were huge and almost hurt us because I couldn't even get the call from our other linebackers and to see what he was doing. But it was awesome. You could tell they had trouble. They had a couple of full starts, and their quarterback kept putting his ear to the sideline to see if he can pick up the call. But just unbelievable job by him, and it's fun. They're a fun crowd to play in front of, that's for sure.
When we came out and they started hollering, they did the Pitt State, you know, how they separate that up, and that place was echoing. I know it got into Delta State's, you know, head. It had to have, because it got into mine even. I was so pumped, and so I can only imagine how that felt for an opposing team to come in and hear that. So my hat's off to the crowd. That was awesome.
Hey, John, you went up against a pretty good cornerback today, and he gave you a lot of credit after the game, but it seemed like during the game you guys kind of got after each other a little bit of John. What was being said? Can you talk a little bit about those exchanges?
You know, he was just talking, like, saying I'm trash and all this, but, you know, like, it's been a couple of plays. Me and Zac miscommunicated on certain plays, so he was at the right spot at the right time. So that's it.
What did you tell him when he said that?
I just told him, like, you don't know what you're dealing with, whatever. I told him we'll get it right, but we never got a chance to get out them, though.
Okay, you got one more week to go to Disneyland, right? Can I ask one more question to the group? You know, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Wayne State, their coach didn't even watch the selection show. He didn't think that their team had a chance to even get into the playoffs, and now they're facing off with for the national championship. Beginning of the season, did you guys really think you could come this far and be at this point where we're at today?
I really believe that. I really did believe that, and so, and especially as being a senior, I believed it the whole way, and I saw spurts of it at the last two games of last year, and in my heart of hearts, I knew that we were going to be a good team if some things came together, and those things came together, and we you know, people don't realize the commitment that we put into it in the off season, and that goes from December on. You know, we had 2 extra weeks of practice during the season when a lot of teams weren't practicing, and we took advantage of those. And I know me and Nate, and I know Gus talked, and Luke Stringer about keeping the team together, building that camaraderie, and that's one thing that I know we did. And then you know, throughout all of the spring semester, you know, we worked our butts off, and that's all there is to it. The coaches weren't going to allow us to do it any other way, and we didn't want to be at a place where we weren't going to have it any other way. And you know, and then, you know, when it was like summer got so frustrating because we were ready. You know, everyone came to 7-on-7, but we were bored. You know, the numbers were always good, and you know, we always worked out hard, but it was boring. We were ready to start playing because we knew that we had something special, and finally it's here. Finally we can talk about a national title and a chance to get a national title, and now we just have to seize the opportunity.
Thanks, Nate.
John, just one quick question. Nate said he would have voted for you if he had a chance to vote for the Harlan Hill. You didn't even get in like top 25. What's up with that?
I mean, it really doesn't matter. Like, I'm a team player, so like, as long as we keep winning, like, they can have the individual awards. So like, it means nothing at all. I'd rather take this national championship, get this chance with my team, than to win the Harlan Hill.
Thank you all.